Primary Tourist, Chapter 24. So, here we are again. Or more like it, here I still am. Anything that I can do about that, sir? Because I really would like to get out of the asylum. Now tell me again, what did I do to deserve this? What's that? Oh, no one else will take me. So this is my punishment for being poor. What's that? You wouldn't call this a punishment. With all due respect, you sound like someone who's never lived here. The only person I know of that kind of liked it here turned out to be a thief. I could see why a thief would like it here. Lots of easy marks around. And as much as I hate to admit it, I'm one of them. What's that? I didn't deserve to have my laptop stolen? But don't you see? That's part of the whole sentence of living here, which stems from my being guilty of being poor. The sentence is to stay here for God knows how long, and if you make something like a friend, you better watch your back. Because even though I've seen friends here, I sure haven't made any. I thought I did, kind of. I guess you can call me guilty of being lonely, too. No place like an asylum for loneliness to fester. No one here with the cure, neither the inmates nor the help. Not for long, anyway. It's funny. Sometimes a smile or a joke from a CNA or a therapist is just what the doctor ordered. And sometimes it just serves to remind you that human connection is what makes life worth living. And that's exactly what I'm missing around here. Human connection, hell. Around here, I'm lucky to have some kind of connection with reality. And if I did, I'd be the only one. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. What did I do to deserve this? And please don't say it could be worse. Of course it could be worse. Like they could put bamboo shoots between my fingernails. Well, yeah, but how long can I rejoice that fact? Because make no mistake about it, living here might not be so gruesome, but it's torture nonetheless. Especially when you toss in the fact that I, as of right now, have no other place to go. This is my home, and this is no home, so I'm basically homeless. Puts a little irony on a little primary day excursion, don't you think? You would think at least the great white would visit me, but I can't even pay attention to his appearances because I'm interested in far more basic matters, like holding on to my sanity if I have a grasp left. It seems kind of tenuous at best. It's kind of ironic, though. There's all sorts of material here, and what do I wish for? To get it all down on paper? No way. To forget it. To pretend it was all a dream. A real bad dream. Anything but own it. My own past, well, present right now, but past someday, I hope. And then I can just completely disown it, like this is somebody else's life, not mine at all, as if wishing makes it so. And that's my problem. I don't know how to make it so. Make it all a memory first and then lost altogether. About the only thing I can figure to do is to be a squeaky wheel, praying for a whole lot of grease. Just apologize if I have to, knowing that it's better to apologize than to ask for permission. So I inch ahead, I hope, working like hell to not fall behind, at least. Baby steps are fine if they're baby steps forward. So, sir, where do you fit in? Are you part of my therapy? Are you my gatekeeper, preventing me from leaving? My liberator, leading me past the door into a new home? Can you find that for me? If not that, what? Don't get me wrong, I like talking to you, and for a little bit I'm a little less lonely. But if you don't mind my asking, who are you? Not to the asylum, I know the resume, but in my life, who? What's that? Oh, yes. Who do I think you are? Like that makes it so. Like all the great questions of all time can be reduced to one big Rorschach test. I'm disappointed in you, sir. Can't you do better than that? What's that? You think you're a friend? Really? Or is that just a line? Because I don't know about you, but I have a bunch of friends, each one complete with a relationship all its own. None of them resemble in any way whatever the fuck we're doing. And it's not enough. Just because we're not friends doesn't mean we're enemies. But you disappoint me again. Either you're tossing me a line or you're completely clueless about what friendship is. And that's kind of an important component in understanding what being human is all about. So, which is it? Shameless shill or the loneliest man ever? What's that? Oh, not a friend, but friendly. Well, that is different. I'll admit that. But I got to tell you, I'm a friendly guy in general. So to say we're friendly, well, it doesn't really say shit. So aside from friendly, just who the hell are you? To me, more to the point, why should I care? You're writing, but you're not answering. Should I be concerned? Cat still got your tongue? I don't know how to take that. Maybe I'm paranoid. But you know the old saying, just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean you're not out to get me. I mean, they're not out to get me, not you're not out to get me. Freudian slip, you think? Still can't hear me, can you? We'll stick with that. I have to say, that's a nice shade of red you are there. Okay, I'll change the subject. Kind of. How about this, though? You tell me how to maintain my tenuous grip on sanity in this madhouse. Any ideas? What's that? Breathe? Why didn't I think of that? Oh, no, don't tell me. I was being facetious. The first thing you try is the breathe thing. At best, it's like a band aid on a mortal wound. Well, short of actually having an idea that might help me, can I at least count on you being on my team? Because I could use somebody that makes me feel less alone. So, what do you say? Well, I'll take your word for it. I don't really have much of a choice in the matter, do I? Sometimes you trust somebody because you have to trust somebody. And like it or not, that somebody for me is you. Kind of by default. Do you feel special? Really? The fact that I, through desperation, trust you because there's no one else to trust makes you feel all warm and fuzzy? I don't know. Seems more pathetic than shit. Even I am. And believe me, I can be pretty pathetic on my own. I have a question, and I don't mean it to sound nasty and sarcastic, although I can see why you would think that. My question is, when I rag on you, point to your ineffectiveness, does it claw at you, make you doubt your worth as a man? Even more basic, make you doubt your worth as a person? Because that's what staying here does to me. Everything I ever thought about myself, the positive stuff I mean, seems washed away in this harsher light. I always thought I was an understanding, compassionate guy, but I don't have much understanding or compassion for my fellow inmates. And I always thought I was a funny guy. None of my inmates get the humor. And I could go on and on about how every single day I learn how deficient I am as an excuse for a human being. And I don't mean to do that to you because it's an awful feeling, believe me. What's that? Oh, so you don't take it personally? You think I'm just airing my frustration out? Well, don't cut yourself too much slack. I mean, I just asked a whole bunch of questions and only got one or two answers. I mean, yeah, I'm frustrated, but it's not exactly in a vacuum, is it? No, you don't have to answer that. That one was rhetorical. Am I being unfair? I mean, I tried to answer these questions myself, all for naught. So I can't really expect you to know. Then again, it is your job, isn't it? To answer the hard questions. Ain't that why you get the big bucks? You don't have to answer that one either. That one was a joke. I'll tell you one thing though. I got to get out of here because this place makes me crazy. I mean, literally. If you hang with crazy people, it kind of rubs off on you. And anybody I know that's not crazy is sure as hell not going to hang out here. Oh, they'll stop by occasionally and visit, but the visits are few and far between. Can't say I blame them. If I didn't have to be here, I sure as hell wouldn't be here. Would you? Now be honest. I didn't think so. Nobody wants to be me, and I can't blame them. I don't want to be me either, but I got no choice. I guess I should look on the bright side. There's no way to go from here but up. I just wish I knew where up is from here. Anywhere, I guess. I'm like at the South Pole. Anywhere I go is north. Everything looks up from the bottom of the barrel. But damn, it's a long way to the top. My stamina took a hit with the stroke, and the company I keep doesn't help me get to the top around this place. Mostly I keep no company at all. They say it's lonely at the top. Bullshit. The loneliness is numbing here at the bottom. Hey, I figured out what role you play in my life. You actually listen to me. Not much of that around here. So that's not nothing, as they say. It may not be a friend, but it's about as close as I got around here. Pathetic or not, there it is. Maybe not a friend, but maybe an advocate. Lord knows I can use one of those. Maybe one more step up from the bottom of the barrel. Maybe a giant step, maybe just a baby step. As long as it's a step in the right direction. I think the right direction is backwards. In time, I mean. Back when it all seemed to work. Was I just too stupid to know a broken world when I saw one? The weird thing is, thinking so kind of made it so. As long as my eyes were closed, I had it made. Until, reality takes over. Reality ain't all it's cracked up to be. Not like it used to be. Maybe it's because we didn't know the ending. So anything was possible. Back before I knew that part of anything was living in a loony bin. If only I knew, just knew that the best part was just ahead. Like I used to know. Except at some point I doubted. And then the stroke, and now all I can do is doubt. And don't you think it would be nice to move back in time when I might have been a walking time bomb, but I didn't know it, or at least I acted as if I didn't know it, but deep down, I knew I was playing a dangerous game. Yeah, let me dial it back just a little in my way back machine when all the endings are happy ones, please, to a time when now was full of possibilities, when it wasn't a jail, when it wasn't an asylum in my living room. Let's go back in time for just one day, okay? Until tomorrow, because we all know that tomorrow was another day. Primary Tourist, Chapter 25. So, here it is. Tomorrow, another day, just like I promised. What day is it is the question. To tell you the truth, I'm kind of preferring yesterday to tomorrow these days. Not literally yesterday. Yesterday actually sucked. I mean yesteryear. All the good years are used already. And the hell of it is, I didn't even know they were good as they were happening. Like Carnival Day in '08. In '04, everything shined because it was brand new. By '08, a little bit of the new car smell was gone, if you know what I mean. That's the shitty thing about brand new. It doesn't last too long. And when it's gone, it's gone. Even the memory gets so rusty that the shine's about the only thing I remember by now. That and the rooting interest, sipping more of the Kool-Aid Howard Dean was serving than I cared to admit. I mean, I was in the room where John Kerry was about to have a victory speech the night of the primary when it hit me. I could be with Howard. Me and 100 other people, but still. Isn't that where the Great White is likely to be? At least my Great White. It was kind of weird, though. For a few days, every station was playing, I'm coming, you're going, don't let the door hit you on the way out. I can still hear it as if I was there, which I wasn't. By that time, I was in a campus on the outskirts of town. I don't even remember which one. All I remember was that Howard was going to be on campus, and campus was where he was huge back then. I'll bet you there's not too many college kids know who Howard Dean is today. Damn, they probably think a BlackBerry is old school. Ha ha ha. Sorry, but that tickles me. But, it hurts too. Because if that's old school, what about typewriters? What are they? Prehistoric? But anyway, that night, primary night, 2004, I was going to be with my main squeeze, Howard Dean. And it was good, but not great. He started off the same way he has every spot since the Iowa caucus. I could scream, but I won't. That was a joke. You remember Howard Dean's Iowa scream, don't you? No? When he said, "We're going to win New Hampshire, then South Carolina, blah, 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 across the whole fucking country." Then he capped it off with a kind of a hillbilly shit kicking, "Ee-haw!" You don't remember that? Because that little victory scream was the first a lot of people that don't wear Birkenstocks heard of Howard Dean. Because that was his first shot to be heard by America. Really, they stopped paying attention in Iowa, except for the junkies. Iowa or New Hampshire, hell, some never pay attention. But anyway, lots of people were starting to pay attention right then. And what did they hear? A list of states and a rebel scream. Major oops. But what are you going to do? That's the damn thing about time. You can't roll it back. So you joke about it. But Jesus, you bet he'd like to have that one back. If ifs and buts were fruits and nuts, it would be Christmas every day. Though, they at least could have come up with a better joke. Who am I kidding? America wasn't going to elect Howard Dean in 2004, even if Democrats nominated him. You don't need a blue chip crystal ball to see that. If only we could have run not Bush. That guy was unbeatable. Too bad he was just a figment of my imagination. The place itself was a huge room. I think it was a gymnasium, very much a bland, soulless room. And those in the know were reading vote totals from different precincts and shaking their heads. All the Kool-Aid drinkers might be brave or is it stupid, but those in the know could see they put too many chips on New Hampshire to finish a not particularly close second. So much for that Tempest. On to the next teapot. But I'll tell you something. He left a hell of a blueprint for Obama for '08. Before Obama was registering and mobilizing college kids by the millions, Dean was showing him the ropes. And he was more than dabbling on the internet, too. I bet you don't remember meetups, do you? Another way to organize the Birkenstock crowd for Howard. But was America going to elect a doctor from Vermont? Let's just say he had to have more of the breaks by now than he got. His vote total was like 25%, and Vermont was right in New Hampshire's backyard. He lives right next door, for Christ's sakes. You had to be blind not to see. But I'll say this, there was a lot of voluntary blindness around that night. Too much Kool-Aid can do that. But these guys, they were kind of paid to not drink as much Kool-Aid as you think. Yeah, they'll be all rah-rah for their supporters, or especially the press. We're going to do it, bullshit. But they knew that the totals weren't anywhere near where they had to be. Oh, we'll have his followers and more than his share of people in love with him. No doubt about it. It'll be a force within the party, that's for sure. But nowhere near the number one spot. But number one in our hearts, at least some of us. And a bunch of us didn't want to admit it was over. Deep down, we knew it. But, it's like not saying so makes it not so. I know it's twisted logic. That doesn't mean I didn't use it. Something else was coming to an end. My virginity. I mean, my primary virginity. Nothing like the first time, right? No pressure the first time. Even when the great white evades you, hell, I'll get him next time. Next time, things will be perfect. Hell, I'll probably win a Pulitzer. Nothing's better than next time, except for the first time. That was vanishing before my very eyes. Well, it's not over until you're home, so it was time to cruise by Elm Street in Manchester. There was a wrap-up party at Kucinich headquarters. Reality was so blatant you couldn't miss it. But they kind of knew that long before primary night. So they were in it for something else. But what? Is there really only one answer to that one? Isn't there as many answers as there are people in the hall? Because when it comes down to it, each commitment is an individual commitment. Some people are committed to the chicks or the cute guys or the tabbouleh or just a feeling of belonging. Then you get the rare gem, more than a Kool-Aid slurper, a true believer, someone that believes that if only Dennis Kucinich or Howard Dean or Barack Obama or John McCain or Hillary Clinton or whoever could be president, then it'll make a difference. Things maybe will start to be right. What makes a great candidate is how many people believe him or her going in. What makes a great president? Damn, that's the harder question, isn't it? I'll tell you one thing, though. If you don't pass the candidate test, we'll never know how you do in the other tests. And the skills are different. It takes different stuff. Some would say contradictory stuff to be a good candidate than to be a good president. And then, too soon, it was time to head back to my job, to my life. One last road trip back, listening to a ton of postmortems on the primary, trying to ascertain winners and losers. On one level, it was obvious. Kerry was the clear winner, probably for the whole nomination. And that's not just 2020 hindsight talk. But Edwards turned out to be a winner, too. In fact, the VP slot for the general could have been gold for '08, but it only went so far because push comes to shove. Edwards had some points and a few chops, but he really wasn't that hot shot of a candidate, especially once you got him away from a prepared script. How about Dean? At the time, he seemed to have money on his ass and he stirred things up among mostly the college set. Somehow, shortly after that, he was broke. His moment was slipping away, slow but sure. But make no mistake about it, he laid some foundation for Obama to build upon. As I got on the highway and headed south, I had to think ahead just to avoid the present, the group home, Sarah, all the humdrum of the present without the mystery of the future or the grandeur of the past. There's always the future, or at least there was then. Next time, my second time around the carnival, I got it covered for next time. Takes lots of planning to try to lay a trap for the great white. Next time, always next time. When I think about it, it's always been next time that keeps me going. I made lots of plans, and I thought of the north as I headed south. Down south was the devil I know. My job, my family, my friends were there. Thinking about the job, about the group home, about the inappropriate behaviors, I was thinking, hell, why not make the break? Sure is pretty up here. And I thought, I can get a job up there. Then I thought, maybe. Then I thought, I can get a place. And at last I thought, maybe. The devil you know was killing me in the winter of '04. But I'll tell you one thing. I was getting really curious about the devil I didn't know. Sarah won't be there, I pondered. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that one bit. Yet I knew that that was just what the doctor ordered. Home sweet home. Ain't that what they say? Home is a beautiful place to fall asleep. But how about waking up? I kind of took my time waking up. I kept the dream alive as long as I can because the rest of my life was a nightmare. Plan for the future. The past is just a memory, and the present, oh my God, I hated the present. The group home's undisclosed location was the site of more and more aggressive inappropriate violence. Sarah teased me, and that was on a good day. Just what kept me in Rhode Island? I found myself asking that question more and more. The Great White was up north, or so I thought, and I slowly but surely was kind of getting the hang of using the internet, both for following the carnival and for getting housing leads. It's a funny thing about housing leads. Each lead brings a different fantasy with it. One day in Manchester, I saw a neon sign at the somewhat seedy Cadillac Motel. East Side Apartments, inquire within. My fantasy went straight to this weird meeting of the seedy and just a few blocks away, the people that are so close to the apex of power they can taste it. Damn, the Great White has to be around here somewhere. I inquired within. Well, I tried to. Whoever I was supposed to inquire with was nowhere to be found. Foreshadowing, I wondered? I heard of a share situation in the White Park section of Concord. Very nice, very respectable, and about 7 blocks away from the State House. I never did follow through on that one. Then there was that place on Craigslist. It was on a pond in Concord. I don't remember the neighborhood. I just remember I never really saw the place, but I was convinced it was a piece of heaven. Maybe I was convinced because I never saw it. Google Earth made everything so much more magic than Mother Earth. It was isolated with a huge lake in his backyard. I emailed the guy, got the particulars, was about to say, fuck it, let's pull the trigger on this thing. We had a back and forth online, and then he disappeared. I had to look elsewhere for my slice of heaven. I'll admit, I was a little pissed at him for teasing me, but then I realized how silly I was being. It's not like I didn't have my own view of heaven already lodged in my head, fully primed to get excited with or without help. But at the same time, I was hesitant. I'm not sure why. Fear of success, I wonder? I didn't have a fear of plans, though. Plans are what I lived for. Meanwhile, Rod and Erica had moved up north, and they were raving about living there. They thought I'd love it. I thought they were probably right, except for one thing, my job, my ball and chain. What would I do without it? When all was said and done, it was the ball and chain that was footing the bill. I'll tell you something. It was very cool having friends in the middle of the carnival. That whole Veterans Day weekend in '07 was pretty fucking awesome. Even before McCain at the Veterans Cemetery, a perfect fall weekend heightened, or is it ruined by a bunch of wannabes scattered throughout the landscape. It was nice to have a perfect weekend or two to give me an excuse for all that planning. One day, I thought, maybe this time, maybe next, I'm moving up north for the carnival. Until then, I'll just be another tourist, peeping at the future leader of the free world like he was a leaf. One of these days, I'll be the king of the world, a registered New Hampshire voter. King of the world. Until primary day, that is. Then all bets are off.